What's up, everyone? It is Friday. It is the last Friday in July. So that means I won't talk about my birthday month for a whole year. You're all welcome. But it's the last Friday in July, and I'm so excited you guys are tuning in with me today. Welcome back to Friday Live with Lauren. Or if it's your first time joining, thanks for tuning in. We're so excited to have you here. I hope you will find today's episode not just entertaining and enlightening, but I hope you'll learn something from someone that I really, really enjoyed meeting and learning about. Let me bring up Miss Holly Christopher. What's up, Holly?
Hello, hello. Thank you, Lauren.
I'm so excited to have you. Okay, so you all know the deal. If you don't comment and tell us you're here, we don't know that you're here. So, hey, Lisa. Hey, Liz. Hey, Mark. Trevor. Happy birthday month. What's up, Timothy? Let us know where you guys are tuning in from. We want to say hello to you personally. Holly, I'm gonna make you hold on. I'm gonna have to switch us because it always makes me, not me. Holly, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks so much. And wow, you put me front and center there. Obviously, as Lauren has already said, my name is Holly Christopher, and I was blessed to meet Lauren through LinkedIn, and we've kind of really got a relationship going through there. But ultimately, from a career standpoint, I got my start in sales long, long ago. When I was in college, I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to med school, and I started out in biology, and I got a little taste of sales. And once I hopped into that sales seat, I was basically hooked. So I stayed there for a very, very long time. I was very successful in sales. And I decided, sales kind of changed my life and it changed the way that I did everything that I do. So I wanted to teach others how to do that. So I transitioned that sales career to sales leadership. And leadership just kind of sprouted from there. And that's how I got to where I am today. From a personal level, I've got two little ones at home. I'm married. I live right outside of St. Louis, Missouri, on the Illinois side of the border. But I'm very, very close to downtown St. Louis. Very excited to be here today as well. So thank you, Lauren.
I love it. I love it. Do we have anybody local to where Holly lives tuning in? I see I've got some South Florida people in the house, some Texas people. Hi, Brad and Nina. Hello, hello. We got Tampa in the house. In the conference room. What's up in the conference room?
We
Hello
love
to
conference
everyone.
rooms.
I'm in a co-working space. This is the podcast room, but what's up to the one co-work? They have some really amazing conference rooms if you're in South Florida and you need to rent one. We got Michigan in the house, Spring Hill, Florida in the house. Lisa says, "Hi, Holly."
Hey,
Um,
Lisa.
David, your meeting got rescheduled. He said he wasn't going to get to come, but he showed up. Woohoo, listen in.
We love it.
We're going to have some amazing giveaways. We're going to go over that next. Lisa, y'all, Lisa, you and Holly, almost neighbors. Hello from Nashville. Jessica, the growth you have had, Holly, is amazing. We are going to talk about that, Jessica. I am so excited to dive in. 15 minutes from Holly herself. David's in Florida. All right. We have a lot of topics to get into, a ton of things to talk about today. We got Pacific Northwest and Texas in the house. I'm sorry, I got to say hello to everybody because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing the show. So, you all know the deal. Ask your questions in the chat. Holly and I will try to answer them as long as they are appropriate. Don't ask any inappropriate questions. We're not here for that. Giveaways, lots of giveaways. Giveaways are not affiliated with LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, all of that stuff. Da da da. In the comments, physical prizes can only be mailed to certain places. Please read all the rules if you're going to enter for prizes. Don't be mad at me if you don't win. One, don't be mad at me if you don't get chosen and I can't ship you a prize, something like that. Like, y'all just tune in next week. Try again. Okay, SD Lab 35 ready to go cold email templates. I used one of those today. Tag Lessons with Lauren S to win an LWL hat. Tag Producify to win a mic. Tag Hustle with Holly to win the Energy Bus book. So we have a lot of giveaways. Now you guys can all start tagging those. I will let that scroll for a while. If you are watching, please share the show. People don't know we're here if you don't share the show. So we appreciate you for that. All right, Holly, you ready to jump in and dive in?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, all right. Big shout out to Producify, our sponsor today. And we're going to get started with motivating and building winning teams. So, Holly, when you think about motivating and building winning teams, what are like the top elements of doing this? What makes somebody successful at this? Where do you start?
So I think the real main difference that really starts when you're talking about building teams and motivating teams and just having teams that win. it starts on the leadership standpoint, right? So many times people get into what I'm going to refer to as leadership and they think of management, right? So completely different thing. I used to be that manager. When I first started into quote unquote leadership, I was a manager, okay? I wanted tasks to be done. I wanted, my team to be the best producing. But in all reality, what that got me was a team that I had to micromanage, a team that couldn't function on their own, and a team that was not successful. So really having that person and having that team to do what they're good at and to help to motivate them, you've got to be a leader first and foremost. So what makes the difference between a manager and a leader, right? So a leader is the person that is going to motivate their team for their growth long term, right? So managers are going to manage the tasks while leaders are going to manage to the people, okay? So you've got to switch up your style. You've got to find out what motivates every single person that's on your team. And motivations can change over time. So when I first started my career in sales, I will never forget my first month on the floor, I made $8,000 in commission. I was working in a call center at the time, I was crushing it. I remember the first day I walked into the job interview, I said, I was like, yuck, this is a call center. I'm way too good for a call center, right? Obviously, I was fresh out of college. I didn't know any better anyway. So I started the job. That first month, I made $8,000 in commission. And I said, well, call center life it is for me, right? I'm going to work in the call center for the rest of my life. And, being in that role, I became so successful. I was making so much money in commission and doing so well that I was able to do things that none of my peers were doing. People I worked with were doing it because they were hustling as well. But, people that I grew up with were not. So I took that motivation and I saw how much my life changed just from that one little tiny aspect of working in sales. And I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I set out to do it. So I transitioned into leadership and management. And that's when I realized that not everybody is motivated the same. I was motivated by money, but believe it or not everybody is motivated by money. And you've got to figure out how you can speak to each individual. You've got to figure out and let them know that you are here for the greater good of them. You care about them, their family, their results, and it will get to a point where they will want to work for you. They will want to work hard, they will want to do the best that they can because your leadership and knowing that you care about their end result is what's going to continue to drive them. So I think that's kind of the base purpose there. That's where you start, definitely.
I love that. It's definitely where you start. And let's be honest, you've either been that manager at some point in your career or you've had that manager at some point in your career. And it's okay as long as you're learning and growing throughout, right? Like we're not going to say you're always going to be perfect your first step into leadership. But the point is, when you're moving into that leadership role, especially for some of you who are watching who are thinking about, oh, maybe I don't want to be an individual contributor anymore. And I do want to take that next step. Holly was motivated to do that. Holly was motivated to move on and teach people and help people grow. So if you're going to be motivated to do those things, you might not always have that first moment where it was so successful right away. But find other leaders that you look up to and be open to that self-reflection, ask for feedback consistently. And then you too can be one of the leaders who's motivating, who's helping. And I see Holly, I know you want to chime in. So I'm going to let Holly say something, but
It is. It's crazy because when I first started in that role, I'm not exaggerating. You guys can like laugh. I had people on my team. They referred to me as Holly the Hammer, right? And my team was producing the worst out of everyone. When you change that mindset and when you really find out what drives people, that switch will go off. And I mean, I've got people in here. I saw it in the chat that are no longer on my team, that are no longer with my company, that have moved on, and they still reach out to me every so often just to check in, see how I'm doing, see how they're doing, and that's kind of what drives that. So it's definitely not something that you just walk into overnight and it just works. It does take a lot of effort. You've got to be open minded and you've got to be open to that feedback. There's many times that people came to me and gave me really, really, really harsh feedback. And I went home and cried that night, right? But I made the changes for that individual, and putting that effort into that makes all the difference.
I love that. I love that you said you made the changes for that individual. This is the other thing I want to talk about when we're talking about building winning teams and motivating winning teams. It's everybody has motivated differently, like you said, and what one person on your team needs is not what somebody else on your team needs. So you have to be really receptive to individual feedback as well. Obviously, sometimes something might be a common theme with feedback from all of your direct reports, right? But sometimes there's something specific, and you have to really listen for what that person is saying underneath, because it's probably something with the way they communicate or the way they feel seen or something more behind the curtain that you need to kind of dig into to really help that person perform. And part of being the great leader who does motivate every member of the team is realizing when individuals need some extra attention.
Definitely. And keeping those lines of communication and having those opportunities where you've got an open door are key to that.
I love it. Okay, Topher's in the building. What's up, Topher? He says he's money motivated, but it's so that he can have the freedom to do whatever he wants when he wants to do it. I feel you, Topher. I am money motivated, but I'm money motivated so that I can have the freedom to spend the time with my son that I don't always feel like I had with my family when my parents, when they were working and traveling and doing all of the things with their sales careers that they were doing. So I feel you on that, Topher. Nina says, I will work for Holly wherever she goes. That is the sign of a wonderful leader. Hello, Gianna. We have Marcello in the house. Timothy's got this hustle with Holly. Y'all, I told Holly she needs a hashtag and to start thinking about it for the show. And she came back with hustle with Holly. I am obsessed with the hustle with Holly hashtag. So make sure you're tagging hustle with Holly. I don't want to forget really quick. We have Producify as our sponsor. Tag Producify. That's at Producify if you are on LinkedIn. Okay. We have the SD Lab at the SD Lab to win that prize. Lessons with Lauren S is a hashtag that is not the ad, it's a hashtag. Okay. And then Hustle with Holly. So those are the ways that you guys can win today. Make sure that you are tagging the correct things so that we can actually get you these prizes. All right, we have some more things to talk about. I'm super excited about this next one because you and I have both been here, done that. When we could both probably write a book about it. So let's talk about being a woman in sales and operations. Y'all, ask your questions. You got questions about being a woman in sales and operations? Let me know. Holly, what's been your biggest takeaway in such a male dominated field as you grew your career in sales and operations as a woman?
I think it's just getting people to really take you seriously and to know that you know your craft. There's specific aspects of every role that I've been in that I've really just tried to become an expert at. Anything that I do, I try to know the ins and the outs and every single aspect of it. And just getting people, to take you seriously, to know that, hey, this is my specialty. I've got it. We don't need to pull in other people. We don't need to ask other people for their opinion. I've got this. If I fail at it, then definitely bring in whoever you want. But this is my bread and butter. Like, let me shine and let me do my thing. I think that has been kind of the hardest thing that I've experienced.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely when you have more experience in the room and somebody looks at you and they essentially ignore the experience you have in the room, try to tell you what to do instead. It happens to us often as women in the room, especially if we're the only women in the room and we feel like we have to speak up for ourselves. I know that I think I've been called loud and bossy in meetings. And I've noticed that the meetings that I've been called that were meetings where I was in a meeting of entirely men. And I think it's interesting to hear these things and to reflect on them after the fact. But the other thing I was talking to somebody about the other day, and you guys know me, I'm going to shed light on anything that I feel is important. And this is important as women. So I was talking to a candidate the other day and we're preparing for an interview and we had this conversation about how 90% of the people you'll ever interview with will be white men. And how literally how many times have you interviewed at companies that more than one round of interviews were with a woman? I can count on one hand the number of companies that I've interviewed with that more than one round of interviews was with a woman. So Holly, you grew your career, you climbed the ranks. Talk to us a little bit about what that feels like now when you're on the hiring end.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely something, that I started doing very young, right? So right out of college, I started climbing. So I've kind of had to deal with that stigma throughout the entire portion of my career. But when I'm interviewing somebody, I always really just try to get to know them as an individual and what their strengths and their weaknesses are. Everybody talks about the generic interview questions. You can go on ChatGPT, you can go on Google, you can go wherever you want and ask, what should I prepare for an interview? And they are going to give you the same answers over and over and over again. But that's not what I look for, right? I'm looking for experience, I'm looking for results, and I'm looking for somebody that can have a really great in depth conversation. And if they're coachable, if someone is coachable, I can teach them to be successful, right? But if somebody can't hold a conversation, it's going to be really hard for me to teach them to hold a conversation. So, those generic interview questions are not the way. Those aren't the way that I found the talent that I found throughout my career. That I don't use them when I'm hiring today. I'm looking at experience, I'm looking at results, and I'm looking to see if that person is coachable to get those results.
Okay, I know I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot a little bit. I'm sorry, but tell me maybe one of your favorite answers you've ever gotten in an interview to a question you've asked and how it like really made that candidate stand out. We have a lot of people who are watching who are either actively looking or quietly looking for their next role. How do you help people or how do you notice in the interview when somebody's really got it?
So I think, definitely people's personality always shines through their interview. And I always like to get in front of people whenever possible because remember your entire image is something that people are, making decisions based upon how you present yourself, whether that's speaking, whether that's just your overall charisma. But my favorite interview question that I ask, and it's always the hardest question for people to answer, is where do you think the number one area that you can improve professionally is? And the reason why I like it is because it backs people into a corner and it asks them to pull on basically their downfalls, right? Where can you improve professionally? And if I ever get someone that says, I think I'm great at everything, well, that's probably a red flag. I'm probably not gonna, go down that route. But I think some of the best answers that I get to those are just the ones where people really open up and they give me an answer. So like for instance, if that was me, I would answer that question and I would say something along the lines of, I can be very upfront and I can be really passionate. So sometimes when I converse with people or when I'm really involved in something, people may look at me and think that I'm being too assertive or aggressive. However, that's not the case, right? I'm just really involved and I like to help people and I like to get the answer around as quick as I can. So it's something I'm aware of and it's something that I'm always cognizant of and always improving on. So that's kind of the answer that I'm looking for. I'm looking for that weakness or where, you're kind of falling short, but also what you're doing and how you're aware of improving that long term because everybody's always got something that they can improve on.
Oh my god, I love your answer. That was a phenomenal answer. I feel like I'd have to talk about the fact that I say yes too often, which leads me to mismanage my calendar and my time management. And having to say no is something that's hard for me. And setting boundaries. So really, I would answer that question in that sense of I have to work harder on setting my boundaries so that I don't mismanage my time. And that's something that I actively, now that I work for myself, y'all, there's so many hats. Oh my God, I don't know. Literally, I think my LinkedIn says, what's the name for I do it all? I don't know what my title is. Do it all. But there's so many hats and so many things. And if I don't say no to some things, I can't manage my calendar. So that's something that I'm actively working on. And y'all, you see how Holly spun that to something kind of positive in her answer. Don't just say, "Oh yeah, well I really suck at this," and that's your answer to your question, and just how bad it is. No, like talk about how you're actively working on improving it and the things you do and all of those great things. So thanks, Holly, for that one. We won't talk anymore about interviewing. That was the only one I wanted to talk about. We're gonna get back into more fun stuff, y'all. We have one, two, three, four more topics to go. We are 20 minutes in. I have to cover our faces for 1 second. Sorry in advance, Holly. Are you guys ready for this? The SD Lab 35 ready to go emails from Tom Slocum. Tag the SD Lab. Holly, hustle with Holly to win the energy bus. Holly, tell us really quick. Tell us about this book.
So when I first got started in my career, I would think, I would get a goal and I would think that there's no way I'm going to reach it, right? And I remember having a specific conversation with my manager at the time, and she said, I told her, I said, I'm a realist. I'm a realist, and that's not realistic. And she said, Holly, she said, you're not a realist. She said, you're negative. And it hit me like a brick wall. And she always swore by the energy bus. And I read it and I got on her bus and I hopped on. And ever since that moment when I decided that I was going to do everything through a positive light, my career changed. And it's what kind of got me started.
Y'all, okay, career changing book. Get on the energy bus. Okay, so hustle with Holly to win that. If you want this really cool hashtag lessons with Lauren S hat, yes, they are black and pink. Get over it. Those are the colors. I'm not making them anything else. Hashtag lessons with Lauren S. And then Producify is going to give away this. This is a collar mic. So this plugs in. Look at that. That plugs into your iPhone and hooks on your collar, I believe. So you can have some great sound. And then we have a surprise giveaway. I'm not going to tell you guys about that. You have to watch until the end of the show. But the other surprise giveaway came from Holly as well. And I'm super excited for it. All right, next topic. If you have followed me for a while, there was a group that I started last July. It was a year ago, y'all. A year ago. We're going to talk a little bit today about possibly bringing it back, revamped, new version. Holly did the 30-day challenge of the accountability group, and it's really for when you want to learn how to post on LinkedIn consistently and learn who you're talking to out there, right? The first thing people always say when they talk to me about posting content is, who cares what I have to say? Who am I talking to? And then when I tell them those two things, they say, well, what do I say? So the accountability group was a group of people who were all posting together on the same schedule to kind of just be supportive of each other in this journey. You all know those first few times you hit the post button and you get goose egg for likes, that's hard. Or you'll have 2 or 3 days and then it goes way downhill. What's going on? Am I doing something wrong? It was a group of people just collaborating, sharing ideas, and talking through how we were going to grow this thing called LinkedIn. So, Holly, talk to us a little bit about what your experience was like in the accountability group.
Yeah, so I wasn't super active on LinkedIn first and foremost before we got started. I used it to kind of showcase my skills, and that was pretty much it, right? So I stumbled upon the accountability group somehow. That's how Lauren and I met, I think. I must have been following you, but when I started with the accountability group, I didn't know what I wanted to post about. There's a lot of things that I considered myself good at. There's a lot of great advice that I thought I had kind of in my, in the back of my head, but I didn't really know what I wanted to post about. So, Lauren started sending over prompts. She told us to figure out who that target audience was. And, I decided that as a leader, I want to provide leadership, motivation, sales, ops, all of that kind of wraps into one. And that's what I made my focus on. So, every single day, Lauren would send out an email and it would show up in my inbox every day. And after the first one that I did, I was like, okay, posted it. Didn't take me too long for the first one. Then they started coming day after day after day. And let me tell you guys, when I commit to something, I commit. Okay. Like I go all in, I become obsessed. I'm also a numbers person. Obviously, I started in sales. So I was watching numbers. I was, holding myself accountable. Those prompts that she would send really required me to think. It wasn't something that I could just pull out and post right away. I'm really good at thinking on my feet and being able to come up with something quickly, but it did take a lot of time for me to put effort into these posts. But once I got started, people started expecting me to post. I knew who my target audience was. I knew what time they were online after, listening to Lauren's recommendations and paying attention. And it got to a point where people would text me and they would say, I didn't see your LinkedIn post today. Like, are you okay? Is everything going good? So once I started getting that feedback and knew that, my posts were helping people and people actually were paying attention, it just motivated me to keep going.
I love that. And it's the motivation, right? Like it gives you a little dopamine hit, that motivation.
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay, we have a question. I'm gonna go back. Sorry. Okay, from Jessica. How do you combat the downfall of being passionate but appearing to be aggressive, especially as a woman in sales and operations?
So I think there's a really fine line, right? But one of the things that has kind of made me successful in this role is overstating your good intentions, right? So everything that you do, I doubt that you're going in with any type of a bad intention, whether you're having a difficult conversation with an employee, whether you're presenting at a board meeting, it's always about letting people know what your intentions are. And if they're good intentions and they're really coming from a good place, then people are going to get behind you on that. Now, if you just go up and start barking orders and barking your ideas around, they're not going to get behind that. but letting people know, the reason why I'm having this conversation is so that, you can continue to grow. I wouldn't give you this feedback if I didn't care about what about where you were going to end up, or just really letting people know why it is that you're doing what you're doing, and also welcoming and asking for feedback so that if you do say something that upsets someone or comes across as too strong, they're able to come to you and give you that feedback so you can make the change to not make that mistake a second time.
I love that answer. I love it. All right. Topher says that he would rock the hat. So, okay, Topher, let's hashtag lessons with Lauren, get the hat. Okay, David was in the accountability group in July. He was in the first group ever. I know we have a few other people. Topher was in the August group. Lisa, you were in the group. Jody was in the group. Look at this. There are a number of people who were in the accountability group. If you were in the accountability group, one, comment if you agree with Holly that it wasn't simple, right? It was challenging. It wasn't something that was just, oh, here's some fluffy content for you on your Friday. It was actually something that really helped you grow. And then did anybody actually see major growth? Holly, what was the growth that you saw after the 30 days?
I mean, after the 30 days, I think I gained like 4,000 followers. I mean, it was a big deal. And it's just continued to grow since then. But I would say when I honed in on who I really wanted to attract, that started coming to fruition.
I love it. And that's important, y'all. You can post, I'm not saying you have to niche down so specific that you're only talking to one specific person in this part of the world, right? But knowing who your audience is matters. And I know that with the content I post, I know this, I'm going to turn some people off. I know that I'm going to have a group of people who probably don't like my content. I do know that they email and DM me. We'll talk about that later. But I have a group of people who don't like my content. So really think about that and what's the purpose of what you're doing and who you're trying to attract. When I first started posting content, a big thing for me, I was a woman in a toxic environment and a toxic career. And I wanted other women who were in that situation to feel like they could get out and to feel like that wasn't their only option. And that's who I was talking to. And the other thing I want to tell you is it's okay if your audience changes a little bit over time. My audience changed over the last year and a half. My content got redirected a little bit. I still wanted to post some of the things I'm known for posting, but I also changed my content plan a little bit and I added some content so that I could speak to some other people that I wanted to talk to. All right. Jody says the exercises were great for her. It was definitely challenging and kickstarted. David, your LinkedIn journey has been incredible as well. Topher says he very much need to understand the reasoning behind the things, especially if it's a departure for the norm. Thanks to being neurospicy. Has anybody ever heard the term neurospicy? I don't think I've ever heard that term before. Have you ever heard that term? I like that term. Neurospicy. Topher, you taught me something new on a Friday. Lisa, it was challenging, helped me grow. I made friends and built relationships that are lasting. All right. If you're watching, would you ever do something like the accountability group? If I brought it back, would you be interested in joining the accountability group? Maybe we'll have Holly come up with some prompts for the accountability group 2.0. I bet Holly would have a great week's worth of prompts that she could contribute. We could have like a master class for the accountability group. Would any of you want to join us? Let us know.
That.
Think about that. All right. Really quick before we do our little halftime break, because I want to make sure that you all win this stuff. I'm going to let that scroll on the bottom for a minute. I'll pop this up at the SD Lab. Hashtag Lessons with Lauren S. A number of you are tagging Lessons with Lauren. It is Lessons with Lauren S. The S matters. At Producify, and then Hustle with Holly. Win yourself some prizes. We are going to watch a very short video and we'll be right back. 1 second, y'all.
Job seekers have a lot of job posts to go through and read. Stand out from those traditional job postings with a video that candidates can get a visual experience from. With a video, you can capture the top talent you're looking for by showing them rather than telling them. Show your company's inclusion, diversity, benefits, and career growth opportunities. Looking to have people relocate to New York City, Chicago, London? Show those offices in the video. Looking for remote positions? Show employees working and loving the work from home life. You can show the onboarding new hires get what they can expect, your culture, and whatever else makes your company the best. Capture the top talent you need with visuals your prospects want. Create a recruitment video today with Producify.
All right, we are back. I'm going to bring Holly back in 1 second. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We are here for you all. There are only 4 more slots left for me to fill up the show through the end of the year. November 10th will be the last Friday live with Lauren for 2023. Unless something crazy happens and somebody convinces me to not take a few weeks off. But my goal is to take a month and a half off, rebrand a little bit, and launch back in January. I am looking for guests for my last 4 shows for this year, and I'm looking for guests for next year. So if you're a sales leader, if you're a marketing leader, if you are anybody with an interesting story and you want to come on the show, let's have a conversation about bringing you on. You never know. All you have to do is DM me and we'll have a conversation and see if people can learn, laugh, and level up. You probably meet the criteria. Let's bring Miss Holly back. What's up, Holly?
I'm back.
All right. Chris said it was a good first half of the show. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you tuning in. Jess said that she needs that mic. We got some people who say they would sign up. Jessica says she would sign up. Timothy would sign up. Jody, Lisa, Nick said he would join 2.0. Y'all, look, okay, so we're gonna definitely do this. Liz is in. Okay, y'all are the reason. We're gonna push through. We're gonna do 2.0. I don't know, Holly, you gonna do another 30 days? What do you think?
Hey, if I'm committing, I'm in. Let's do it.
Holly says if she commits, she said, I bet Holly will have a whole group of people in with Holly this time. We're gonna have a group of people. There is a Slack community. I haven't even really been nurturing that. If you're in the Slack community, y'all, I got to be 100 with you. Slack gives me anxiety. And when I started that Slack group, I was like, it's going to be great. No, it wasn't great. So I didn't. I thought I was going to shut it down. I'm not. I hired someone who's going to start managing the Slack group because when you just don't like something, you can hire it done. So I'm going to hire someone to manage the Slack group. So anybody who wants to join, the Slack group will be active again. And shout out to Apollo, which is where I sequence all of those emails through that Holly was talking about. I send daily because I definitely don't log in and click send every day. I put that on a sequence. Work smarter, not harder, y'all. Okay, next up, we are going to talk about how LinkedIn is more than just a job search platform. Please comment right now if like the first time you logged on LinkedIn was when you were looking for a job, or when you got laid off, or when you, I don't know, anything related to a job. Are you only, we mainly got on LinkedIn around job stuff, right? First time for you was something for a job?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I got on LinkedIn initially, I was just everybody was getting on it and I got on it and that was just the extent of it, right? I didn't post anything. I tried to have kind of a generic information, of what I had done, but I didn't do a whole lot with it. But I do remember knowing that it was for jobs.
For jobs. Yep, for jobs. The only thing I remember LinkedIn for was when I hated my life and I was working and I'd go to the bathroom, I'd scroll jobs on LinkedIn because I hated my life and I had to find something else and nobody could take my phone away from me. So, no, just kidding. We don't do that anymore. We work for ourselves. Topher says he was in college when it launched, so he put his internship and his part-time job. I think I was in, we're not going to talk about that. Jess says, I opened my account in February 2022, kicking and screaming because everybody told me this is how you get a job. I did not believe anybody. Lisa says, when I first got on LinkedIn, I was job searching. Jody, looking for work. It wasn't a glamorous start. Elijah says, hire me. And Topher says, and then just checked in between jobs. So yeah, y'all, mainly a lot of people over time have been utilizing LinkedIn for just job searching. No, not me, y'all. Holly, what else are we going to utilize LinkedIn for the rest of 2023 and in 2024?
I'm going to be totally honest. I can honestly say that I have not used LinkedIn for job searching. And when I did your accountability group,
She's
Lauren,
the purple squirrel unicorn.
I know, I know. I mean, I've looked at jobs and everything in the past, just kind of scrolling through, but I've not gotten a job from LinkedIn, honestly. So I think this is important because when I did your accountability group, Lauren, and when I got really active on LinkedIn, my phone went crazy. I mean, it was blowing up. People were like, I saw that you posted on LinkedIn. Are you looking for a new job? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I posted about sales. And, everybody was losing their minds thinking that I was out looking for a new job, and I wasn't. I was very happy in my role, and I just wanted to get, I wanted to get started. And I actually saw a post. Do you know Lauren, who Luke Shalom is? Do you know who he is?
Of course.
Okay. Don't know how I ended up getting connected with him, but at one point he posted on LinkedIn that LinkedIn is like having the smartest person from every single industry that you need access to in the same room. And that resonated to me. Like, that was enough for me to say, I am going to be on LinkedIn and I'm going to go all into LinkedIn. And I think this is at the same time as the challenge or shortly thereafter. Um, so I do think we've got to get away from people just thinking that it's for jobs, because it's not. It's not. If you utilize it the way that you can, there's so much more to be brought from that.
It's not just so much more. Like, y'all, LinkedIn maybe, right? Like what you hear all of us talking about when we joined LinkedIn. That was a long time ago. It wasn't like, I mean, other than Jess just starting last year. Jess, you're a unicorn too for June 2022. But for most of us, we've had LinkedIn for a long time. And I talked to a lot of people, it was like a resume placeholder for a while, right? But when I started creating content on LinkedIn, the purpose wasn't just for job related purposes. The purpose was that this was a new area to create content that made sense to me. My brain understood it. I'm not a marketer, y'all. I have no marketing background. And for LinkedIn, it was a place that I also knew I was talking to people who were similar to me, who probably had stories similar that I did. And I felt like I could curate my network easier than I could figure out on other social media platforms. So for me, LinkedIn was just easier. Maybe it's because I'm so old. But that's literally how I felt. Like, it just felt like the simplest one for me. And then it worked. So LinkedIn was the place that I was like, I'm going to go 100% in on content on LinkedIn. I tried to do a little bit on TikTok. Every now and then I'll post on my Instagram, but my content is on LinkedIn. And it's not for the purpose of, I don't have a bunch of recruiters in my inbox trying to have me go work for their company. I'm pretty vocal about the fact that I would not anyway. But it's not for that purpose. The purpose is for the people who say, Lauren, I wasn't in this industry and you gave me the tools that I needed to help me transition into it and to know what to say to those hiring managers. It's for those people. It's not for any other purpose. So people who post content, like, one, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. If you're worried about your employees posting content because you think they're going to leave, like, look in a mirror. You're probably part of the problem if you're so worried about your employees posting content and they're going to leave. I'm sorry. I know this has nothing to do with Holly, but it just is true, y'all. Like, treat your employees really well and you won't have to worry about them leaving. They can post all the content they want. And if you're a great boss, they're going to work for you forever. Who commented that they would follow Holly anywhere they go? Right? Like, Holly's a great leader and a great boss. None of that matters. None of the other stuff matters. So posting content has nothing to do with like job searching or anything like that. Like, y'all, I get paid for posting content on LinkedIn. There's great things that come from posting content on LinkedIn. Mark says he's trying to scroll to find his first post. Mark, I hope you're not scrolling for very long. Um, Julie said, never really use LinkedIn experimenting for what it can do. Exactly, experimenting. Mark says LinkedIn is for online coaches and growth and finding inspiration. Somebody talks about finding scholarships on LinkedIn. Y'all, look at all of these things that you can use. Just getting started on LinkedIn later in life. You can get started on LinkedIn whenever you want for any purpose you want. There you go, Jody. Target on target. All right. Holly, what else now that you are posting content? And I'm sure every now and then you get some people reaching out to you saying that your content inspired them or helped them in some way. What do you think of when you think of posting content in the next half of the year?
So it's a really good point that you say that, Lauren, because I'm not exaggerating. Every single week, multiple times a week, people talk about my content. Someone in HR today actually messaged me and said, she said, your content is so positive. Please keep posting. Like, it helps me every single day. So that is absolutely true. For the rest of, the year, I think that my focus is really going to be on, I use LinkedIn right now, like I said, to connect with the smartest people in the room. I always want to grow. I always want to continue to grow myself and to help others. At this point in my career, I'm no longer money motivated. I'm motivated by helping other people reach their dreams. So, providing those tidbits of kind of what has made me successful along the way, and then also relying on those people that are much smarter than I am, more experienced than I am, to kind of get the help or the guidance from them. That's really what I'm focusing on right now. And we'll talk about that next in the next segment. But I think that's really what my focus will be primarily for the next part of the year.
I love that. Perfect. Okay, Mark found his first post. Y'all go check it out. Somebody tell me when it's from, because I can't click it in the live show or else I'll lose my face and not come back and it'll be gone forever. Hey, Katie. Everybody say what's up to Katie. Hey, Katie. Katie Penner is amazing female leader who was on the show. Holly, you're in the ship group, right? And the women of the ship, you're in the group?
No, I'm not in the women of the ship.
I gave you the look in your text messages. I sent it to you. Katie's in the women of the ship. Everybody, if you're a woman in sales or marketing, reach out to me, Holly. Katie will get you in the women of the ship group. Mark says it was 9 years ago. Mark, I wonder when my first one, like my first LinkedIn post. I didn't post on LinkedIn in the beginning, y'all. I didn't post. I think I made like my first consistent post on LinkedIn was April of 2022 was when I first started really posting on LinkedIn, because April of 2023 was my year mark. April this year was my 1 year. And I made my goal to post every day for a year. I don't know if you had any type of goal like that, Holly, but I made my goal was to post every day for a year. And I also didn't realize that life happens, y'all. Like my grandpa died in that year. I still posted. I did my year. I posted every single day for 1 year. And I'm very proud of myself for accomplishing that. But on the days now when I don't post, I don't wake up with anxiety over not posting. I don't get stressed out about it. So do you and do what you want to do. Like Holly says, when she commits to something, she does it. I committed to a year. I was doing it. Topher says you can click about and see when you joined. Okay. I'll have to go look. Topher joined in 2007. I'm just gonna give away my age so easily if I keep talking. All right, enough about that. David said hello, David. All right, moving on. Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
How to leverage LinkedIn for a side hustle. When Holly and I were talking, Holly's like, I don't really have a side hustle. Like, oh, I get it. And y'all, you don't have to have a side hustle, but Holly was talking about you're on LinkedIn so that you're in a room with a bunch of other smart people. So I want to talk about hypothetical of if you are going to leverage LinkedIn for a side hustle, think about your network that you've built and the things you've done. What steps do you think that people could take if they're like, you know what, I am probably pretty smart. I could probably figure it out. What steps do you think somebody should take when it comes to reaching out to your network and leveraging it for a side hustle?
So I did consulting work kind of in my past. So I did use it when I was doing some kind of consulting work. Like I said, I'm not doing any of that now, but you could kind of consider it a side hustle. So one of my big goals and aspirations, so anybody in the comments, if you've got a hookup, send them my way. I want to write a leadership and motivation book, and I want to do a TED Talk. So right now, my focus is reaching out to individuals that are doing those things, have done those things, etc., so that I can learn from them, see what they did, and hopefully shave some years off of the point to get there. So, how do I do that? I reach out and I look for the people that I'm looking for. Who's writing the leadership books? When did they write them? How did they do it? I'm reaching out to them. I'm sending them messages. I'm introducing myself. And don't get me wrong, they don't all answer. A lot of them don't, right? But it's just about starting those conversations. When people do TED Talks, they're proud of it. They put it in their headlines. So they're really easy to find. Okay. So I'm targeting those people. I'm reaching out to them. I'm finding out what it is that they're doing and how I can do it too. And you will find that there's people out there that are willing to help you. Not everybody expects a paycheck from it. Not everybody is mean and cranky when you send them a message. There are some really, really amazing people, people that I've met in person, people that I've had coffee with on LinkedIn that will really, really take you in with open arms to help to develop you as well. So that's kind of how I'm using it right now, to help to further my long-term goals.
Okay, look how cool this is. 1, Nathan can help you write a book. For your TED Talk, reach out to Cindy.
See, it's just that
Bada
easy.
bing, bada boom. Holly just said what her dream was, and 2 people said, "Here you go." That's incredible. Y'all, I personally don't want to do a TED Talk. I know we had this conversation last week when Larry Long Jr. was on. I break out in hives sometimes when I have to speak to people. So no TED Talks for Lauren, but let's help Holly reach her goals of TED Talks. Hold on, somebody else is commenting. LinkedIn is great for finding support for new endeavors. It really is. Y'all, when I first started recruiting, I didn't know if it was going to be like a full-time forever thing or if it was going to be a slight side hustle while I was finding my next sales career, right? And now I've leveraged my network and LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is the reason that I'm a very successful recruiter. Most of my clients have come from referrals off of LinkedIn from friends who don't even use me as a recruiter, but know that I do this. And my side hustle kind of like, it's like my, like, recruiting's my full-time career now, and look at that. And it was just something that like I was like, do you think you could do that and use LinkedIn to do that? Maybe. And then now look at me. I don't ever want to do, well, maybe one day do something else. So I did actually figure out the other day I have a dream career other than recruiting. I reached out to if you guys remember when Rob came on the show, he does all the videos for Lavender. When Rob came on, he wants to do a show for, this is so random, I know, but he wants to do a show for a company, like a mini TV series, and promote it on LinkedIn, like 10-minute episodes, 6 of them. And I reached out to him and I was like, I want to be the Andy Cohen and host the live after show. Like, that is my new dream job. I just want to be the Andy Cohen of LinkedIn. Thought I wanted to be the Howard Stern of LinkedIn. I'm reneging on that. I want to be the Andy Cohen of LinkedIn, and I just want to host all the live after party shows. So if anybody else is watching, I'm going to leverage LinkedIn for my network right now. If you have a live show and you want to host a live fun after party show, I want to be the Andy Cohen of LinkedIn. That's my new goal in life. I don't know where I came up with that, but random thought on a Friday. All right, next topic. Kindness kills, especially on social media. This is a fun one for me. I know that it might not be as fun for Holly. Holly, do you get any hate on LinkedIn yet? Has that happened to you?
Nonstop, yes. And I first of all, I don't understand how people are just mean like that, right? But like I told you, I'm reaching out to people just to say, hey, I'm so interested in what it is that you do. And that can be all that I say, right? And they will respond back and they'll say, I'm not interested in what you're selling me. And I'll respond back and I'm like, I didn't say anything about selling anything, right? But yeah, I get it all the time. People just I guess they think that I'm trying to sell them on something automatically when really I'm just trying to have a conversation to meet really amazing people.
Yeah, I get it a lot as a recruiter when sometimes C-suite or VPs that I try to connect with will look at my page and decide that they don't want to connect with me because I'm sure they assume that I'm going to reach out and ask them to recruit for them, which sometimes that might happen, but most of the time that's not why I'm DMing you guys. It's because I actually really like your brand and I want to do a partnership with you on this really fun show called Friday Live with Lauren. And you look at my profile and leave me hanging. And then I go find your competitor and try to partner with them. But kindness kills. And it's really interesting to me when people are rude to you on social media. You'll notice, you guys will see it in comments on big creators' posts and things like that of people just leaving something hateful. It takes so much effort and energy out of that person's day to be rude to you. Just be a little bit nice back and watch how much they hate it. Because they're doing it to poke the bear, right, Holly? So when you're on social media, my biggest thing for kindness killing is think about how you're responding to the negativity. If you're gonna think about joining something like the accountability group, like Holly and I are talking about, and you're gonna actually start thinking about posting content and putting yourself out there and being a little bit vulnerable. Holly, do you think you're ever a little bit vulnerable with your social media posts?
Oh, absolutely. I think, when I'm vulnerable, I think people like that because I think we spend so much time trying to put on this like perfect picture of what our lives are, right? So then when you are a little bit vulnerable, people realize like, wow, that person's actually a real person. They have real struggles just like I do. So yes, I do. I'm honest and I like to be honest and give honest feedback and be open so people can really learn the real me. So absolutely.
100%. And y'all, sometimes people are just out there to be nice. I know I talked about this a few shows back, but I had someone that when I randomly found their LinkedIn profile, they were like 3 followers away from, I think, crossing like 8,000 followers I don't know. It was a decent number of followers, right? And I remember being there and being so excited. I'm about to cross this mile. Like, y'all, it matters if you're creating content. When the second you put your thing in follower mode, you start paying attention. And I remember that. So I remember I reached out to like 3 or 4 people. I had my husband. I was like, got my husband's phone. I'm like, give me your phone. Let me follow this person on LinkedIn really quick. I text 2 people. I'm like, hey, can you go follow this person for me? I want to help them. And I got them, like, we got over the number and I messaged them and I was so excited. And it was just like a message, like, I'm so excited to like be in your network. And I had a few people and you passed your goal. And the person wrote me back and he was like, I'm going to ding points for not having a clear CTA. I'm just like, really? What was the call to action? You're welcome for the followers. Like, I just wanted to help you a little bit. They're not fake. They're not paid for. They're real people. And I was polite back. And then this person, I think, backtracked a little bit because they weren't expecting me to just be polite. But kindness kills. And especially if somebody has that moment. I know earlier Holly was talking about she's a good leader because she assumes good intent, right? Like, we don't assume that people are doing things to be rude and be negative and be nasty. So if somebody is a little bit rude to you or a little bit negative or nasty, just try to assume that they didn't know they were being that way and be polite and kind back and see how that conversation goes. I bet it's much better than the ones where you just snap back real quick with how you really feel. I've only done that once on LinkedIn that I had to delete a post that was not so nice. I think in a year and a half with my brand, that's pretty good. Only having to delete a negative post one time.
That is pretty good. That is good.
And it was the day after my grandpa died, and the person shared my post about my grandpa trying to sell for their company. And I lost my mind, y'all. I lost my mind. So maybe also when your grandpa dies, get off of LinkedIn for a few days. I hope you're not in a year challenge in your own head when that happens. And if that happens, have some pre-written content so that you can actually back off. All right. It's been about an hour already, y'all. Really quick, let's do the giveaways one last time. Holly's giving away this fun book that likes to cover my face just perfectly called The Energy Bus by John Gordon. Hashtag hustle with Holly. I want to see those comment numbers popping up so you can win this wonderful book, Hustle with Holly. I'm going to give away this fun hat. I feel like I could probably try to move myself or move it next time where it's sitting on my head. Lessons with Lauren S. I've already given away 2. We're going to give away 4 of those. So this week and next week, and then the hats are done. I won't do the hats again. So this is going to be your only chances for that. Producify is also giving away a microphone that covers my face just perfectly like that. It is one that plugs into your iPhone. So if you have an Android, give it to your iPhone friends. And then we do have a surprise giveaway. Do y'all want to hear what the surprise giveaway is? Holly, should we tell them?
I think we should. It's a good one. It's probably my favorite one.
Okay, I think it's the best one yet. So are you watching right now? Are you watching? We're going to ask you to do something to win this one. You don't have to share the show. If you want to share the show, you could share the show. We love that. But we're trying to get the show to as many people as possible. And we want all of you to go follow Holly right now. So Holly, smile big. Take a screenshot of this picture. Take a picture of this. Post this on LinkedIn. Say something about this show. Tell us something you learned from Holly about leadership. Maybe that you want to join the next accountability group. Tag Holly in that post. Okay? And Holly is going to pick someone at random. Holly, tell us about this one.
So this book, Extreme Ownership, right? Amazing book. I've read it multiple times. I'm about to start it again. But this right here is your key to leadership, you guys. Leadership is about taking ownership for yourself. And it has helped me more than any other book out there. Very, very good. And one of you is going to win this because it's that amazing. I want somebody to win this. So please make your posts. I promise you it's life-changing.
All right, y'all. Life-changing. I'm sure another career-changing book. Extreme Ownership. There is no hashtag to win this book. You should be taking a photo of the screen. Hi, take a photo. Share the show. Don't have to share the show link, but share about the show. Something you learned from the show. Tag Holly so she knows, y'all. If you don't tag Holly, she won't know. So befriend Holly on LinkedIn and tag Holly. So that you can win this awesome book, Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. All right. With that, we're going to do some giveaways. Are you ready? Are you ready, Holly?
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see.
Holly, you got a lot of entries for your book. All right, let's share these screens. Share my screen. This is like my blonde moment of the show every time. All right, we're going to give away the mic first. So if you want to win that mic, you need to tag Produceify. I'm going to give you like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Produceify, we have 10 entries for the mic for Produceify. Let's draw and see who wins. Ba-da-da-da-da. Who is it going to be today? Jamie, what's up, Jamie? I'm so excited for you. Okay, y'all. Jamie won the mic from Produceify. Let's do our next giveaway. Share the screen. All right, y'all. Next, we'll do the SD Lab cold emails. We had 5 entries for the cold emails. Who needs a cold email? 35 ready to go templates from Tom Slocum. Again, I used one of these today. They do work. Lisa, congratulations on winning the cold emails. I will get you the link for those. We will do, what did I click? That wasn't the right button. We will do the hat giveaway next. So if you want the hat, you needed to tag Lessons with Lauren S. Maybe Topher's going to win. Maybe Julie, Jody, Josie, Nina, who. Topher, you're going to win it with your cold calling shirt. All righty. And then Holly's giveaway, the book, the one with the most entries. You guys also go follow Hustle with Holly hashtag. I told Holly she needs her own hashtag. The bells on LinkedIn don't work that well. Y'all know the notifications stink. So follow Hustle with Holly. Let's draw. Are you ready? 16 entries, Holly. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Nathan. Nathan is the winner of the book. I'm so excited. The energy bus, Nathan. You're getting the energy bus from Holly. I will hook you two up later after the show. Holly, the last thing we always do on the show, and I'm always excited for this one. I hope y'all are all still sticking around. Can you give us your fun Friday fact of the day?
I will give you a fact. Hopefully, we'll get a couple of laughs out of you guys. So, not only am I a leader, but I am also a mother to 2 crazy little ones and a husband. That should count for a third. My crazy Friday fun fact is that my dream car, I want more than anything else in the whole wide world right now, is a minivan.
A minivan. Which kind?
I'm loving the Kia Carnival, but I feel like I might go like OG with the Honda Odyssey.
Oh, I don't know. I really like some of the wells and bezels on the Kias now. What do
I
y'all
know, they're
think?
so nice.
Chime in. Should she go with the Honda or the Kia for her minivan fantasy? Let us know.
And I've got room. If you want to come on, once I get it, I'll have room. We can go for a ride.
As long as it's got the automatic door for when I'm walking with all my bags, that's all I care about.
For sure. There's nothing worse than like leaning over in the door, like hitting your butt. So,
oh my
absolutely.
gosh, it's the worst. Okay, y'all. Oh, we got Chrysler Pacifica. I had a Holly. Did you watch the show where we learned that FTW meant for the win, not what I always thought it meant?
Yes, I did.
I almost said it wrong again. Chrysler Pacifica for the win. Jody says some minivans are sweet rides to get the Honda. Jessica says avoid the hubs playing golf. Topher said get an SUV. Mark said Toyota Sienna. Honda. Nathan agrees with me. The Kia Carnival is fire. Y'all, this was a fun show. I had a lot of fun. I hope you will come back next week. I believe we have Matt Cross on. If you don't know who that is, you'll have to tune in next week to see. I'm sure we're going to have some fun giveaways. One more hat to give away. Holly is going to do her giveaway. What day do you want everybody to post by? When are you going to draw for your giveaway for this book?
I mean, let's do it. Let's give them a week. Got a week. Okay.
So next Friday, probably right before the show, Holly will draw the winner for this. So you have a week to post something you learned from this show. Screenshot us right now. Share the show. Share something. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, we won't see you next week. It's been fun. Bye.